Hi, welcome back. Bill Stewart here. This is lesson 5 in the series. In the first 4 lessons, we learned how to be a general success. And we learned that there are 4 key steps to becoming a general success in anything in life. Those 4 steps, once again, are focus, practice, balance, and retention. In step 5 and the next number of lessons that we're going to be discussing, we're going to focus on a little different thing. We're going to focus on becoming a financial success because that's what most people like. So here's the first thing in becoming a financial success. It's rule number 1, and here it is. If you want to be a success, watch what successful people do and copy them. It's very, very simple, and it's very, very true. Realize that from very early on in life, every person whom we come in contact with affects our lives. In essence, to varying degrees, these people are our life teachers. And if we choose to follow the teachings from the right teachers, becoming successful should be very attainable. Unfortunately, not all of our life teachers are good teachers. In many instances, our life teachers are actually teaching us how to fail. When a child is old enough to realize that he or she has had or has some bad life teachers, it's up to that child to change the old saying to, if you want to be successful, watch what unsuccessful people do and don't copy it. In other words, use those bad life teachers as shining examples of what not to do. The more exposure to certain people will make their teachings to us more impactful. Let's have a look at our most influential life teachers. Number 1 would be parents. From when we were born until perhaps our teenage years or early 20s, the most influential teachers in our lives are our parents. Now, you might be one of the few who are blessed with both parents being wonderful teachers of how to be happy, healthy, successful, well-adjusted adults, or you can be like a large number of children who, unfortunately, grew up in a totally dysfunctional environment. Number 2 would be best friends. When a child reaches the teen years, their sense of reason should be developing. This is the time when the child can go through many changes. The child, in many instances, will develop a best friend. Now, that best friend with whom the child now spends an abundant amount of time has now become one of the child's best life teachers. Now, if the best friend is from a happy, healthy, successful, well-adjusted family, and a child from the dysfunctional family spends a lot of time at that household, there's a good chance of the best friend and the best friend's family that they'll act as teachers. The child from the dysfunctional family will have a good chance at realizing that his dysfunctional family is an unsuccessful family, and therefore their lifestyle should not be copied. However, if the best friend is also from a dysfunctional, unsuccessful family, that best friend and his family could cause the child to continue down the incorrect path. Number 3 would be other friends. The friends the child chooses will have a huge impact on how the child will turn out. For example, if the friend hangs around a group of friends who are interested in sports, odds are the child will choose a healthy lifestyle free of unhealthy addictions such as smoking, drinking, and drugs. If the child hangs around kids who drink and or do drugs all the time, odds are the child will also be involved in those same vices. Now, if the child's friends are always going to fast food restaurants and overeating, odds are the friends and the child will become overweight. And if the child gets involved in gangs who commit crime and hurt people, that will become what the child deems to be a normal life, and most likely he or she will follow down that same path. 4 would be spouses and significant others. Your lifetime partner, whether it be a spouse or a longtime girlfriend or boyfriend, is also a huge life teacher. If you choose a great lifetime partner, that person can often take you to a much higher level of success than if you were to do it on your own. Conversely, if you choose a bad lifetime partner, that person can derail your road to success very quickly. Many times, in an eagerness to get married, which by today's or society's standard, it's a form of success, people will not do the correct research on their potential life partner. Couples who marry after a short courtship run a much higher odds of the marriage failing. In the courtship period, everyone's on their best behavior. Lust can be misinterpreted for love. However, if the couple hold off on marrying and remain as a couple after the initial sizzle-hot courtship period cools down, they will see the true colors of their potential future spouse. If you like what you see, then go ahead and marry. However, if this seemingly wonderful guy who used to bring you flowers every day starts backhanding you across the face, you might want to run. Number 5 would be role models. If a child is fortunate enough, even though he or she grew up in a dysfunctional household and or had some bad friends, at some point that child may be exposed to a positive role model. This role model can actually turn around the child's life if that child chooses to follow the role model's teachings. And that role model can put the child back on the correct path to a happy, healthy, successful way of life. 6, books, seminars, and self-help materials. If the child has no positive life teachers, it's not game over. The child can read books, go to seminars, or absorb self-help materials on how to become successful. There are even professional life coaches who can be hired to give direction on how to be successful. Number 7 is school teachers and professors. School teachers and college professors educate you. If they're great teachers, you'll become interested in what they're teaching. And this can result in life-changing events. A great geography teacher can inspire you to want to travel the world. A great English professor in college might inspire you to become a professional writer. And a great history teacher could possibly inspire you to want to take part in an archaeological dig in some faraway land. Conversely, if you have a bad teacher in any given subject, that teacher can suck out any glimmer of interest in that subject and cause the student to actually hate that subject. I remember my son being at the top of his class in grade 8 math. He loved math. His teacher, Mr. Powers, created math games and contests that my son strived to win. He made math interesting and fun. The next year, my son's grade 9 high school math teacher was a dud. My son actually felt that he knew more about math than her. By the end of the year, he was no longer interested in math and was actually disliking the subject. Fortunately, the following year, his grade 10 math teacher was good and renewed his interest in the subject again. If the student is unfortunate enough to get a string of bad teachers in all subjects, a potentially great student, might even pass on going on to college. Number 8 is media, and media sources such as TV, radio, newspapers, and the internet can be huge life teachers. Many times they can be positive life teachers, but they can also be very, very horrible life teachers. I remember around 2005, there used to be this top-rated Los Angeles talk radio disc jockey. His name was Tom Leykis. Tom was what was called a shock jock. His whole entire program was basically teaching young men how to trick and deceive women into having sex with them. He called it Leykis 101, and he trained these impressionable young male listeners how to spend little or no money on a woman while on a date, and to use his methods of mind manipulation to coerce a woman into having sex. Women to Tom were nothing more than sex objects, or as he would put it, sperm depositories. He even created this thing called Flash Fridays, where during rush hour on Fridays, during his show, women were encouraged to show their breasts to any neighboring male motorists who flashed their headlights. His ratings for his show were huge among the young male audience, and because he was popular and his ratings were huge, his show was deemed to be cool, and women would actually show their breasts to the guys, much to the guys' delight. Guys would call into the program and report to Tom that they had just seen some boobs on the 405, the 101, or some other freeway. The problem was, he was a horrible life teacher as far as what was right. The unknowing young men who idolized him didn't realize that they were being led down a path by this life teacher that would greatly reduce their chances of having a long-term, healthy, loving, caring relationship with a woman. It's no surprise that Tom Leykis has been divorced 4 times. He's a relationship loser. This goes back to the point, if you want to be successful, watch what a successful person does and copy it. All the Tom Leykis disciples were following an absolute loser when it comes to relationships. What are their odds of finding a healthy, loving relationship with a woman using the methods that this horrible life teacher taught? Virtually nil. I'd like to note that I used to listen to him on the radio and actually get quite angry at his teachings. And one time I even called up to his station and was actually able to talk to Tom on the air. I told him that with him being divorced 4 times, he really wasn't qualified to be teaching our young men about relationships with women. I told him that he was actually setting up young men for a very sad relationship life, and that I was ashamed of any advertising sponsors of his radio show. He told me, well, maybe I don't want anyone to be happy, and he hung up on me. Now, I'm not sure that I can take credit for this or not, but for whatever reason, within a month of my phone call, Tom Leykis' format totally changed from teaching young men how to objectify and abuse women to how to invest for your future. And I guess the new format wasn't shock enough, and about a month later, Tom Leykis was completely off the air. Yeah, media is a very strong life teacher. The television programs you watch can and will shape your views. As an example, if you watch Fox News all the time, you'll most likely end up with Republican views and principles. Now, if you watch MSNBC News, you'll most likely favor the Democratic viewpoint. Even though these huge news channels are supposed to be fair and neutral, they're anything but. Be careful not to be manipulated by these advertisers for their own agendas. The point here is to take whatever you see or hear in the media and don't just assume it is factual because it's on the TV, radio, or the internet. Question their hidden agenda. Then decide what road you want to follow. Number 9 is religion. Whether you're religious or not, you have to give credit to most religions for teaching people to follow a healthy and happy lifestyle. For the most part, if one were to simply follow the 10 commandments, it's going to keep most people out of trouble and give them a happy life. There are many religions, and the vast majority of the religions are good life teachers, but there are also some radicalized religions that have some very twisted views. These bad life teachers teach people to hate, probably because the people involved in all these bad religions had terrible lives and want other people to feel their pain. After all, misery loves company. If you want to be successful and you feel you need religion in your life, follow the religion that teaches positive life principles and avoid the negative religions like the plague. Number 10 is the military. The military in most countries can be good life teachers as they teach discipline and respect. They also teach physical fitness. Many times a wayward young person with a little or no direction, or even a young person who has gone down the wrong path of life, can be corrected by joining the military. As an example, if you join the Marines, I can bet that you won't be doing drugs or lipping off to your parents anymore. And after a few years in the military, you'll be well equipped to be a respectful, productive member of society with high odds of having a very healthy and happy life. There's also the honor of serving your country, which is very, very admirable. However, like religion, there are radical versions of the military that teach hatred. An obvious example is Al-Qaeda or ISIS, where it teaches that it is an honor to be a suicide bomber who kills innocent women and children in a mall because they've been Americanized and are evil. Some suicide bombers even believe that there'll be like 70 virgins waiting for them after they complete their honorable mission. You know, what a bunch of hogwash. But there are many misguided young people who believe this stuff and follow their horrible life teachings. If you feel that you need structure in your life to correct an incorrect path, then military might be a good life teacher. But like radical religions, avoid the radical versions of military like the plague. Number 11, government. Whether you realize it or not, your government is one of your most influential life teachers. Every law that has been passed over the centuries has been designed to keep the masses in line to avoid total anarchy. It is the government's job to be the managers of the country's population, and in most democracies to try and give its people a happy, healthy, successful life. Be happy if you are in a democratic first world country where citizens are encouraged to become successful. Many of the third world countries have governments that suppress their people, keep them in the dark, and only the select few live in luxury while the rest of the population struggles. You can criticize your government all you want, but you should seriously count your blessings that you live in a country that allows anyone to achieve the highest goals. Our government gives us rules to follow, and if we follow these rules and choose the correct life teachers, we're allowed to become huge successes. Realize that the government is not perfect though. Not every law is going to be to your liking, but I do feel that they're trying their best they're trying their best to run the country in a manner that satisfies the majority of the people. After all, that's the principle of democracy. Number 12, everyone else. As we go through life, we come across people who can be life teachers, even if they're not in our lives for very long. You might see how a father lovingly plays with his child on a swing at the park and make that immediate decision that, you know what, I want to do that with my future child. You might see a mother scream and hit her child in a shopping mall because the child has misbehaved. And right then and there, you make that immediate decision to never be like that. We see hairstyles, tattoos, piercings, etc. on people from TV, movies, or the music industry, and we decide either that, hey, that would be cool to copy their style, or decide that they look ridiculous and never copy their style. The truth of the matter is that everyone we come in contact with in our lives could be a potential life teacher for us. Number 13, me. I could be your life teacher. However, I can only teach you how to be successful in the things in which I'm successful at. Can I teach you how to be a great dancer? No way. I suck at dancing. Can I teach you to be a great musician? Not a chance. How about math? No way. I barely know the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. Point is, there are many things in which I'm not able to teach you how to be successful at. But can I teach you how to be successful at a job or a business? Absolutely. Why, you ask? Well, because I've been successful in that arena. Can I teach you how to start with little or no money and become a multimillionaire? Absolutely. Why? Because I've done it. Now, please realize that I'm not a genius to figure out how to do these things on my own. I was just lucky enough to have had great life teachers in these areas who were already successes, and they were kind enough to pass on their knowledge to me. I guess I had the common sense to follow their life teachings, and I too became successful in those fields. I would like, if possible, to be like the wise father or grandfather you always wished you had. I want to be your role model. I want to share all my relevant life teachings with you to help you become a success in life. But, like with all life teachers, it's up to you whether or not you want to follow my teachings. You need to use your common sense and decide which, if any, of my teachings that you want to copy. All right, so what have we learned in this lesson? We've learned that if you want to be successful in any field, watch what successful people do and copy it. We've also learned that you need to be smart enough to recognize unsuccessful people in any field and not copy them. Do you want to be a millionaire? Study and copy what millionaires did to become millionaires. It'd be stupid to copy a poor person's teachings on how to become a millionaire, right? Do you want to be maybe a successful parent? Then copy the behavior of other successful parents. Read books on how to become a successful parent. It'd be stupid to copy a parent who beats their kids, right? Here's the other important thing that we must learn from this lesson. You have to qualify your life teachers. Don't automatically trust what people say just because they're on the TV, the internet, or in some position of authority. Research your life teachers to see if they are worth following. Even with me, you need to decide whether I'm qualified to teach what I'm teaching. And then, you can make the decision to follow my teachings or not. If you use common sense and have a bit of luck, I have no doubt that you'll become a great success. Believe me, I really, really feel lucky. You see, I'm one of those kids from an incredibly dysfunctional home. But you know what? I was lucky enough to have some incredible life teachers who taught me the successful way. I learned from them, and now I want to pay it forward. Interestingly enough, in my early years, although I did have some good life teachers, the majority of my life lessons were what not to do. What that did was waste a lot of time. My wife and I have often discussed how much farther we would have been, or we would have gotten, if we had wonderful and successful parents who basically guided us on what to do and what to avoid. That's what I'm trying to do for you in these lessons. I'm trying to teach you everything I know to make you successful. That way, you don't have to waste time going down incorrect or bad paths. So listen, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye-bye.